All right, folks, this is going to be a short instructional video on how to spin up your own 4-stranded gimp for use in buttonholes with using the actual silk twist thread that you're going to make your buttonhole out of. Things you'll need for this are, of course, the silk twist. You'll need some beeswax, and finally, we'll need a needle. So we'll show you how this works here. I do want to take a moment to kind of stress that I'm not really aware of this being used in the 18th century. I'm fairly certain this is more of a 19th century thing. It is still used by some tailors today on modern garments, in particular on buttons that get a lot of use. So like the front coat buttons, let's say, of a coat, lapel buttons, things that don't really get used, they'll still use the commercial gimp. But what it's going to do, it's going to produce kind of a thick, semi-stiff cord for you to set your buttonhole stitch on top of, but it's not as rigid as the commercial gimp, and it's certainly more rigid than just running 1 or 2 strands of the buttonhole thread, as your gimp, as you probably see more typically in 18th century sewing. So we're going to start by spinning off some of the thread from the card. You probably want to take like a full arm's length. I'm going to take a little bit less than that because I won't actually be using this. But that's about what you want. It's about an arm's length. When you get the amount off you need, what you should do here is hold the cord taut with your thumb on the card, and with the opposite hand, just go ahead and pluck it a little bit. What this is going to do is just help set that twist that's in the cord, and if there's any stretch in it, it will help to sort of set the tension. All right, so go ahead and cut it off, and what I recommend at this point is wrapping the thread around your finger on both ends and going ahead and just giving it one more quick pluck from both ends, just to help again set that tension of the twist all the way down. Then what we're going to do is we're going to wax this thread very, very heavily. Wax is going to be our friend in this. This is actually how we're going to make the cord. So you just go ahead and wax this way more than you would ordinarily do if you were going to be sewing with it. So this should be more like if you ever seen like a shoemaker making cord. They have that sort of pitch stuff that they use that really sticks all the strands together when they twist it up. That's kind of what we're going to be doing here. So lots and lots and lots of wax the whole way down the cord. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take both of the cut ends of the thread and we're going to marry them together as much as we can. And we're going to put both of these cut ends of the cord through the eye of a needle. So we have a needle. You're going to need a fairly large eye on the needle for this. And we're going to go ahead and thread both of them through. It's going to be a little tricky. Just take your time. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and double thread over, so we'll have 4 strands. So we want this to be more or less even at the bottom, like so. So now we have it. You can see, if we can get this to focus, we have 4 strands here instead of 2 running down the cord. Okay. Now from this point, what I'll do is I'll get my my arm board here, and we're going to wax this some more, all 4 of the strands, run it through here, and just get it really heavily waxed. We want lots and lots of wax. Okay. And then I'll take my sleeve board here and I'll stick the needle into it to kind of anchor it, like so. And then we just start twisting with our fingers. Just work your way down. Twist it nice and tight. Nice and tight, nice and tight. All the way down. And then when we get to the bottom, we need to knot this off. Okay. And you can see how twisted up it is. Now the last step is going to be adding a little bit of heat to this. Now I'm going to do this without a press cloth just so you can see what we're doing. But I would recommend wrapping this in a press cloth so you don't get wax all over everywhere. And make sure you got a good twist in your cord. Okay. And when you're satisfied with the twist, hold it down so it doesn't untwist. Grab your iron and add some heat. And what that's going to do is melt the wax into your cord, and as it cools, it'll be a bit like a glue. And she untwisted on me, so we're going to wax her up again. I think I untwisted it rather than retwisting it. Good, nice tight twist. Add some heat, let it cool, and that should more or less hold that twist in place. And then what you have here is a thicker twisted up cord. Now I'm going to compare this to using 2 strands. So here we have 2 strands of the silk twist, and here comes our cord. And you can see just by the way it's laying around, it's much more stiff. It's not necessarily any wider than the 2 strands of silk twist, but it's certainly raised up more, and it's a lot stiffer. So that would make a stiffer buttonhole than just using 1 or 2 strands of the silk twist as your gimp. Let me see if I can get this at an angle though, so you can see that it's definitely more pronounced off the fabric than just the normal silk twist. So that's how you spin up your own gimp. If you wanted to try that, again, at the end of the video here, I'm just going to stress that this isn't something that I'm necessarily aware was done in the 18th century. I think it's more of a 19th century to modern thing. That being said, there was one waistcoat that I think it was Neil posted a picture of, may have been somebody else, I don't really remember. It was a neat sort of like primarily white with a couple other colors sort of worked into the fabric waistcoat, and the buttonholes they were worked with a white twist, but the gimp was a twist of, I think it was red and blue. So you had this sort of red, white, and blue buttonhole thing, which is pretty interesting. Not sure if they just twisted two strands together to sort of make the candy cane look, or if they did something like this. I'd have to go back and try to find it and really look at it. But anyway, so there you go. Hope that was useful to some of you. Give you something fun to play with. I will see you all soon.